bleeding waste standing here without so much as a piglet in the pen.
Toe of snake, wing of worm, brew and spice 'em, stir and churn.
I bet Tim Fred's been strung up by his...
Slimy, reeking, rotting sea guy. Steady, boys, steady.
Ha! No, it ain't. He drove it straight to the barrel bank.
Have you found us a job yet? We'll take anything, really. The Fabulous Five, eh? That sounds like just the right opportunity for three brawny buccaneers like us. We'll go right away, thanks.
That loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all win 500 yards of my loving nature.
Situations. Each sifting grain of sand in the hourglass is another one.
It's yours? Here? In Seal? Bah! Of all the cursed hunks of rock to land on, Conrad chooses this one. Was too busy dodging fireballs to notice anything myself. But ask around a bit. Could be one of the other men spied something I didn't. Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm
Ahoy,
loves him.
sailor! Are you enjoying the fresh winds of Sicile? Aye, that Cecil's worse than a rooster, crowing all around town about matters he ought to know are better kept quiet. Well, if you know about the staff, I suppose you also know it's gone without a trace.
Is that why we never sail to Youthful Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all win 500 yards of my loving nature.
Psst! Ever heard about the time the captain took the Duchess
For my
of
part, I haven't a clue where it could have gone. Overboard, stolen, or vanished into thin air. Though I'm quite eager to see it return. I've got a reputation to uphold, you know.
Why we never sail
Wouldn't hurt to ask some of my men. I tried myself, but sailors tend to be a bit tight-lipped when they're afraid of getting one another in some trouble. Seaman's code, you know. Not to rat out a fellow sailor.
Ever heard about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for the joyride?
Huh? No, it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing
Heard
a
anything
lap-
about the whereabouts of the magic stick yet?
Youthful Gore anymore.
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all win 500 yards of my loving nature.
Psst! Ever heard about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for the joyride?
Huh? No, it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Youthful Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all win 500 yards of my loving nature.
Psst! Ever heard about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for the joyride?
Ha! No, it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Youthful Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really...
Those orcs must be out of their barbarous minds. I'll tell you, they all...
Ever heard about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for the joyride?
Ha! No, it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to
Is that
Youthful Gore anymore?
Yes, sir. As fine a specimen as one of her stock, sir. That loopy legionnaire... Legionnaire really thinks that Orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an orc within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for the joyride?
Ha! No, he didn't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Sailor, what news from the mainland?
Oh, nothing new, sir. Zombies, skeletons, you know the story. Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Yuthel Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy Legionnaire really thinks that Orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an orc within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for the joyride?
Ha! No, he didn't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Yuthel Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy Legionnaire really thinks that Orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an orc within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for the joyride?
Ha! No, he didn't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Yuthel Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy Legionnaire really thinks that Orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an orc within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for the joyride?
Ha! No, he didn't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Yes, sir. As far as... and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Salutations! Source hunters, I see. I'm Sergeant Curtis, proud protector of this house of Legion goods. Report?
Still nothing, sir. Suppose there just aren't any thieves around.
If there were no thieves, why would we be guarding this place? Think!
Makes sense, sir. God, you man.
Quite a bit better if I could do it in peace.
Just making conversation, mate.
Mate, he says. We are colleagues, nothing.
Come now, it's just a turn of phrase.
Will you please?
more holes than a slice of this fine almond land.
Don't scuttle away before you've tried some of the ocean's finest bounty. How many crab claws would you like? 3? 11?
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies size seals ever seen. Toad, snake, wing of worm, brew and spice and stir and churn.
Quiet day on the market, it seems.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies size seals ever seen.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Toad, snake, wing of worm, brew and spice and stir and churn.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine almond land.
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes. Quiet day on the market, it seems.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies size seals ever seen.
Pay the big cheese on your book with a...
And don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the lizard councillor's wife.
Have you found us a job yet? The fabulous fun.
Speaking of youthful jaw, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
Sifting
Yours, here, in Star for what?
now.
Ahoy, sailor! Aye, that for my part wouldn't hurt to ask some of my men. I tried myself, but sailors tend to be a bit tight-lipped when they're afraid of getting one another in some trouble. Seaman's code, you know. Not to rat out a fellow sailor.
Speaking of youthful jaw, that loopy legionnaire really
Heard
thinks
anything
that
about the whereabouts of the magic stick yet?
I love it, nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! Now it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the lizard councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail the Ythel Gore anymore?
Speaking of
Heard anything about the whereabouts of the magic stick yet?
I wouldn't let it all within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! Now it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the lizard councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail the Ythel Gore anymore?
Speaking of youthful jaw, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orchid charm loves him.
I wouldn't let it all within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! Now it ain't. He drove it straight to the pub and back.
And don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the lizard councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sailed the Ythel Gore anymore? better.
Still nothing, sir. Suppose there just aren't any thieves around.
Away from there, you pilferer! That room is off limits to the good. But do not tempt fate.
Oh, it's not so bad.
They're dead. And they might have lived
gods!
if we
She
hadn't
killed
intervened.
them. By the gods! She killed them! By the gods! She killed them! By the gods! She killed them! By the gods! She killed them!
Swine.
The sun is out, yet I feel a cold inside my soul. Bane of age, crux of years.
ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge? They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you could even fathom.
How fares your first quest, hero and hunter? Fabulously exciting, I'll bet. Yes, I've met them. Oh, they're a very promising set indeed. They've already left on their first assignment, don't you know? Yes, indeedy. Left for Lucula Forest, that leaf-covered playground of goblins. Oh, such stories they'll have to tell if... I mean, when they make it back.
So you're just standing around here, waiting for what? Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies Siceil's ever seen.
Not in the mood for cheese. Their excuses for holes in the slice of
Oh, it goes to and fro the city square. They hustle and bustle while I sit here stagnant.
Excellent. Let's keep it that way.
While I sit here stagnantly and watch it all go by. Oh, how nice it is of you. The very picture of youth, to break the monotony of an elder's day. Wild away on this hardwood bench. Pray, let me be forward with you, O sapling rose, O leaf of spring, for my weary mind is troubled, and would highly prize thy gentle-handed assistance, thy kind ministrations. I am but an aged elf that has seen the years parade in long succession. Gladly shall I tell you more. Will I regale thee, O whelp of men, with my tale? But not here, where the winds may steal my words. You would listen to my grievances, guide me towards untroubled realms. Oh, you are truly a wonder, O budding flower of the morn. Yet that which I would tell you is of a rather private nature. So let us escape both the chill and the eye of public scrutiny. Hot spiced wine and a snug little room awaits us on the King Crab's first floor. Let us go there, so that we can warm our bones, yet make shiver our hearts with a tale of loss and sorrow.
If only the popular girls from the Source Academy could see how edgy and dangerous you've become.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? This here's my family business. Yes, there's been a Roberts escorting stiffs into the next life since the foundation of Seal itself. They don't write epics about morticians, but I'm proud of my work nonetheless. Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. What about it? Didn't I just say we gave it a respectable send-off? Why are you giving me the 3rd degree? Now, if you don't mind, I'm trying to run a business here. We'll have no... What do you think?
When you've been naughty around here.
So, what's the bad news? More sad story. I just concern myself with giving the remains of this here. What about it? That's enough of that now! What do you think you're doing? So, what's the bad news? This here's sad story. I just concern myself. What about it? You there! Cut it out!
need to blow this one open. Looks like the mortician has reason to suspect Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, Evelyn, and Esmeralda of something.
Here lies Catherine. I know, I was great. Here lies Catherine. I know, I was great. Here lies Catherine. I know, I was great.
Rest in peace,
I
darling.
smell rotten lamb chops.
That's a sheep. Where's Jake's corpse?
Jake, where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake!
May the seven keep you.
Here lies Jared. Shall I come back as an enraged spirit or a lovable prankster ghost?
My life is ebbing away.
Back on my feet again.
On the mend.
Healing right when you need it.
Here lies Patrick. You can kill me, but you'll never kill the dancer inside me. Here lies Gregory, whose wife told him so. Here lies Judith, warrior princess. Here lies Neil, killed in the line of duty. I want to go home.
Rest in peace, darling.
Here lies Kimberly, finally.
So, what's the bad news? How do you... Ah, the ledger, is it? Fool was I to leave it in the open. Or perhaps I even looked forward to being found out. Well, as you know, I have my suspects in the matter. What would you like to know? Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows. It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary, and there was something about her that night, some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts, that there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlour. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched. Lured me outside, claiming she needed air, before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make... I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. Do whatever you like. I'll deny it to my last breath, and not you or anyone else can prove otherwise.
I smell rotten lamb chops.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those... How do you... Ah, plenty of a shopkeep. He could have used it to sidle in without Aureus himself. Can't see why he'd bother. I know it sounds... It was she. Seemed she could... And this may... I never... It was she who rang my bell just before the... That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair. And I certainly plan on making some use of it. Do whatever you like. So, what's the bad news? How do you... Plenty of Aureus himself. Can't see why. I know it was she who seemed she could... And this may... I never... It was she who rang my bell just before the bot... So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. Do whatever you like. We'll have none of that, you hear? What do you think you're doing? We'll have none of that, you hear? You there! Cut it out! So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent an... That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. So, what's the bad news? That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair. And I certainly plan on making some use of it. So, what's the bad news? That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair. And I certainly plan on making some use of it. You know, I reckon Bertia really didn't get a fair shake in all this, did she? Here, take the money and give it to her. Times are hard enough as they are. So, what's the bad news? More or...
What? Oh, it's you! What news?
Wargraf gives you a knowing look.
What? Oh, it's you! What news?
Old age.
Jake? Murdered, you say? Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Now I remember. Well, I'm sure the facts will prove me innocent. Keep investigating. You'll see for yourselves in time. Oh, yes. The Fabulous Five. Aren't they simply fantastic? I'm sure they'll get the job done in no time, especially with your expert hand lent to their cause. That machine Ahu built is an abomination. It must be stopped at all costs. I bet the wizard himself could provide some advice regarding how to destroy it. He's the mad scientist who crafted it after all. My dear girl, my darling. I introduced her to my library when she was a girl. She quickly proved that the if you're looking for something special, just ask. She knows every book by heart. Papa's smart little cookie.
again, adventurer. I hope you wiped those muddy boots on your way in. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits. For my part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him that band of... I don't even know what to call them. Well...
The hunter returns! I hope you are here to shop rather than sleuth. Listen, if you're going to accuse me of something, you would better find the evidence to back up your ridiculous claims. Perhaps it is you who should explain your presence in my cellar. And the dagger? It's simply a butcher knife used by my late husband to cut meat. He did so love to cook, the dear. What'll you think of next? Accusing me of bashing him over the head with a frying pan? Oh, that horrid tome of ill repute. It isn't mine, it was Jake's. He was a politician, don't you see? Always on the lookout for plotting rivals. Always trying to be one step ahead. Really, I should have thought a source hunter of all people would appreciate my dear husband's sense for survival. Oh, don't put stock in the hastily scribbled words of a lovelorn fool. This letter, it was a show of passion. A poorly worded passion I did not echo in the least. The Duke, he's like a spoiled child. He's not a man. He's not like Septimus. But all of it is circumstantial. I've a perfectly logical explanation for every piece of so-called evidence against me, and yet you've been trailing me like a bloodhound. People seem to want to believe I am guilty, so let me tell you something I've been keeping to myself. Perhaps it may yet lead to the true culprit. Over the last few months, Jake grew distant. Distant and dark somehow. Something in him changed. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he was no longer the gentleman he used to be. In fact, he scared me. It all began the day he met Evelyn, Master Theliron's apprentice. She healed him of what we all believed to be a fatal wound he suffered hunting boars. I think he became obsessed by her, or obsessed by the secrets I just know she holds. Talk to this woman. There is more to her than meets the eye. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she belongs to that sect. You know, to those who worship a goddess without name and practice rituals of blood. I never liked her from the moment I met her. Men cannot see past her beauty, but I have gazed her in the eye and it was death that leered back at me. She hails from Silverglen, a village in the forest north of Sicil. How she made it past the undead without a Legion escort, I'll never know. Though I can hazard an eerie guess. If anyone killed my Jake, it must be her. She had her claws in him for many long months, and finally she must have cut too deeply. Starstone? I've never heard of such a thing. Dear Jake had a mineral collection, yes. As far as I knew, it was one of his pastimes, nothing more. Do you mean to imply he collected something dangerous? Something that may have gotten him into trouble? Oh, this is all too much. I feel like I'm drifting from nightmare into nightmare. The hunter returns! I hope you are here to shop rather than sleuth. Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs. I can't bear to imagine something would happen to you.
Oh, but don't you worry, my lady. We Legionnaires are highly trained soldiers who fear neither orc nor demon.
Oh, but what if you were to be ambushed, caught unawares? Oh, catch me, for I might faint. So tell me, Septimus, would your wife or sweetheart be compensated by the Legion should tragedy befall you on the battlefield?
I suppose so. But seeing that I'm neither married, engaged, or attached in any way, I've never bothered to inquire.
Polite, handsome, and single. Don't go anywhere tonight, Legionnaire. I'd be afraid alone in the dark. My, what a strong and handsome officer you are, kind Septimus. You must have fought many a battle, am I right? In fact, I bet you're a real war hero.
Oh, I'm no hero, Esmeralda dearest. I'm just doing my duty, you know, for the Legion.
Well, you certainly are my hero. The rock upon which I may rest my weary soul in these trying and troubled times.
Never